Yeah, you can try to connect. Hello everyone. We are going to start. So today we have class presentation about the Python Django framework. Yeah. So presentation will present by Gaur Asad.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. So today my topic is Python and its framework. As you know about the Python, uh, so why we use the Python? So everyone knows about Python. I don't think I need any introduction about the Python. So here is just a picture about why we need Python. So basically, first of all, it's a high level language. The code is very simple. It's just like an English. The open source, you have a large community about if you have any error about anything, so you can search it and then you can find a quite better solution about that. GUI programming is also available in that. It's object oriented programming. If you know about object oriented language, it's like the classic structure. So you have to make the class and then you inherit and all that things. And then it's an interpreted language. So next, why we choose the Python? Right now, the Python is like necessary for using. Like for example, now it has covered the data scientist, data analytics, AI engineer, software engineer, DevOps engineering, web development, machine learning engineering. So now our topic is web development. So I want to cover the topic which you need for the web development. Like it's not I don't think so. Today's class only the one class is good for covering all that things, but I will do my best to know. Do you have any idea about how the things are working? So first of all, what is the web framework? Have you ever anyone work on the web framework or create websites? Okay, so you okay, so you know about the frameworks. Okay, so the framework it's just like the libraries or tools that you need to interact with the website or interact with the users. So now today I'm covering the Django, Flask and FastAPIs. So what is the Django? First of all, Django is basically use the MVT framework. Like the other languages, they use MVC, like the model view controller. Okay, but now in Django we have model view templates. So we in that part, the other languages have the view part. In view part, we will see the things on the front end. But in our case, in the Django, the view part is basically which is controlling everything. And the template in template we have our front end data like HTML files, CSS files, or whatever you need, the images or. Okay, so this is the actual structure of the Django. First, the user will interact with the URL. The user hit the URL, then that view has the functionality. So that view will think about whether it is connected with the model or the user wants the templates. Okay. So what is in the model? The model is basically the structure of the database. Like whatever we have in the database, like the queries or everything, it is covered by the model side. The view handles the request. Like for example, if the user click on that particular URL, what the URL will do, where the URL will go, that will handle by a view. And the template is just basically to show the front end for the user. For example, if you want to if you want to like log in. So when you click on the login button, the functionality that is handled by the view function. Okay, and then when you log in and you see the dashboard is in the template folder. Okay, so in Django we have the architecture like this. You can see there. First the user will request, it will go to the controller which is the URLs, and as I told you, which is the view part. Then view part is decide so what the user want. If the user want to interact with the database, it will go to the database. Okay, and then it will go to the queries. And after that, and if the user want only the front end, like he just want to see the about page or login page, so he will just go to the template file. So this is all written in there. So now, what we need to create the Django? So like, what is the pipeline or what is the formatting that we need to create a Django? So first of all, you have to install some library which is called Django, and then you have to write that command. That command is varied. That command is varied from different software, like how you set your environment. For example, if you set your Python, so you don't have to write that thing. You just have to write only that thing. If you have the Django installed in your environment, but if you don't have, so you can use Python -m, and then you can start your project. After that, you have to start your application. So first you have to migrate, and then you have to start your application. I will clear everything from my next slides. Okay, so basically this is the to create the Django application. For example, after you create the Django application, so you have to put that application in your setting file. If you don't put that application name, that folder name in your Django file, you can't access that file. Okay, so now we have in Django we have two things. We have the application structure, the app structure, or the Django itself structure. So first let's talk about the project structure. So in project structure, you see like you don't have to worry about that file when you write the command like Django start project. Everything is already made, so you don't need to worry about to remember the name of that thing or which file you have to put there. It is already made it. So manage file. So basically, what is the manage file? The manage file is the file that manage everything in the Django. So you have to run that file that enable to interact with your application, or that enable to run your application. You don't need to worry about what is written there. It is already written. So it's just the necessary files for the Django. So okay, so now the migration. The migration is used when you want changing something in the database. For example, you create any other table, or you create any other column. So then you have to like write the migration. So it will take everything. It will make the changes on your running application. Make migration is the same thing. So like after migration, you have to make the migration. So it will create the application, the file. So you can use it later. For example, you have to roll back your migration. You don't want that migration. So you just need the migration and the ID. So it will roll back for that part. Okay, init file. Init file is also a necessary file, but you can't. You don't have to write anything there. It's just the files that necessary to run the Django. The setting file. This is the main file, and you have to worry about that file. Whatever you write here, it will affect your project. So in the setting file, I don't think the image is clear, but you can have idea. I will show you after. So there you have to to set your database, where your database file is, where your static file will go, where your template file will go. Everything what you will what you want in your folder or in your Django application, you have to write there. For example, you want the database, or you want to the middleware or authentication. Everything is covered by that file. So that file is necessary. You have to read, or you have to know about how the setting files work. The URL. The URL is also the important file in the Django. In Django, like the URL, whatever you see in the URL, you have to write there. For example, here if you see, I write the admin and say hello. So whenever the user hits the admin, it will go admin.site.url. It is also the admin file. So here we have the certain URL. So it's like the structure. So whatever this that part is the endpoint. So the user will hit that, and then it will direct you where you want to go. This is the WSGI app. So actually, this file is necessary for deployment. Like you don't want to worry about if you are working on the local system, but if you are working on the server side, or you want to make it live, then that file is necessary for that, because it contains some information about your server, about the server IP, or about the server password, or whatever you like, your credentials. This is also the server file. Actually, that two files are necessary because some server are using the SDI services, and some of the using the other services. Okay, so now we are covering the Django app structure. So if you remember that, this one. So here first we create the Django project. This is the project. After migrate, you have to create your application to start your application, actual application. Like in Django, you can manage different application. For example, you have the main Django application, and in Django you have the you have different softwares. Like for example, you have to run the school management or the hospital management. You can do it anything in only one Django. Okay, so in Django, the application, you don't need to worry about the application. It will automatically create it when you start the application. So if you see about, we have the init file, we have the admin file, we have the app model, everything. It is all automatically created. You just need to write your code in some files. Init file, in that part, init file is also be empty. The init file is actually working for necessary for to know about where we start the project. The admin file. The admin file, you don't need to worry about admin file. Admin file is basically if you are working about the admin panel. You know, like we have the two panels. Basically, we have multiple panels, but normally in normal case we have two panels: the user panel and the admin panel. The user panel is what we are seeing as a user. But the admin panel is the one who is using your website and who is making your website visible. For example, you are visiting the shopping website. So the picture, the products you are seeing is the user side, but the one who is putting the product is the admin. So this file is necessary for the admin side. App file. In app file, you have to run your code, which is so your application will run. This is necessary for starting the application. So whatever you write, that will visible for your application. Model file. Model file is basically used to create the database. For example, if you are working on the project where you need the database, like you need the user credential, you need the login page, or you want to store your model result, so you can use it, or you can like predict something and you want to store something, so you need the database. In database, we have the class structure. We want to, first of all, we have to create the tables. If you are working on the SQL database, so like now we have two kinds of database: the SQL and non-SQL, and then we have the lot of database. So if you are working on the SQL database, then you have to create the tables. Or if you are working on the database like MongoDB or DynamoDB, you don't worry about the table creation, because here we are using the dictionaries for storing the data. The view. In the view part, we have to write our endpoint. For example, like I want to create the view part for the user, so I write the /user. So whenever someone hit the user part, so the code I'm written in that part, it will visible for the users. The URL part. The view part and the URL part are interconnected together. For example, whatever you write in the view part, the URL part is help you to retrieve that data. Okay, so now the Django templates. What is the Django templates? The template is nothing. It's just the folder for the folders or the application, the files that you are used for HTML, CSS, or whatever the static files. So in the template folder, you have the HTML files. So whatever you want to display on the user side, on the front end, you have to write the code in there in HTML files. So this is the structure of the file. So this is kind of HTML code I'm you are not familiar with that code, but you can ask for ChatGPT or whatever. It's just a simple code. Okay, so now the Django static files. Static files are the files that are not meant to be changed by the time. So like you write the code for CSS file, or okay, so the CSS file is like the we in the front end we have two kinds of things: the structure or designing. The structure, for structure we have the templates, the HTML, and the designing we have the CSS file. So the static files is the file that is used to create, like for example the JavaScript files or the images, whatever you have, which is not meant to be changed by time. You can put everything in the static file, and then your application will access that files. Okay. So this is the basic structure of the Django. So now we are going to cover the Flask. Actually, the Flask is using the MVC framework, like model, view, and controller. So there is no difference between MVT or MVC. It's just the kind of naming convention that we are using. The working is same. Like first of all, the user will click on the route, and then the route will decide whether if you want to go in the model part or you want to go in the controller part. So it's just like I don't know why, but they just use the different convention for different parts. Okay, so the Flask structure is quite similar, quite simple. Like in Django, the Django has the big structure. In Django you have the you have the project folder, you have the application folder. But in Flask you don't have anything. You just need application.py file, template folder, or static folder to run your application. That's it. So this is basically the structure of the Flask application. As I told you, you don't need to worry about the init file or the manage file or whatever. You can use only one file to create everything. So this is the Flask structure. You have to create the instance of Flask, and then routing, and then the main file, and it will run. I will show you in the practical part. So routing, what is routing? Actually, routing is the one who is connecting our user to our system. The routing is, for example, like the naming. For example, everyone has a different name. So the route is just like the name. In the code, we have the different routes, like about. Like for example, if we are working on the website, in the website you have the different pages, like the home page, about page, or contact page. So that part, so the route are used to connect that part. For example, if you are working on the home page, you can use the name of the route like a home. If you are working on the about page, you can use the about page. It's not necessary like you are working on the about page, you have to write the about page. It's not necessary. You can write anything. You can write your name there, so you can hit, and the about page will come. Okay. So in Django we have the templates. In Flask we also have the template file. But in Django we can tell the Django where we have to store the template file. Like we can use any other folder name as a template. But in Flask, because it's a light framework, so we don't have the setting file there. So in Flask we have to use the template folder to connect our application to our front end pages. Yeah. So in Flask we are using the Jinja template. So like for example, you connect your application, your front end to back end, but how you actually connect it, how you put your front end data to the your back end data to the front end, or your front end data to the back end. So from there we use Jinja templates. So in Jinja templates it's like the bridge. So it connect your front end to your backend. For example, you are predicting something. You hit the request. You hit the URL, and that URL will return something. So how that thing will display on the front end? The Jinja is handling that thing. Okay. So now the rendering. What is rendering template? the rendering template is basically used to render the template. For example, now you are connecting the template. For example, you create the front end, you create the back end, you know the Jinja. But how when you click some route, how that route will display the HTML page. That's why we are using the render template. The render template is used to display our page on the website. For example, when you click on the route, that route is connected to the that page. It is everything is done by render templates. The static files, like as I told you, the static files we have in static files we have different things, like we have the CSS file, we have the JavaScript file, we have the images, or we have the other things like whatever you want, like the SVG file or whatever. So actually this is the structure of the static file. For in static file, you can't like, if you don't want to use the folders, you can put the files together and then you can link that files. But it's a good best approach. You can use the files as a, like for example, you have many JavaScript files. You can use JavaScript folder, the JS folder. You can, if you have the many files, you can use the CSS files, and also the template file. In the template files, we have everything is the .html extension. The .html extension is basically what we are shown in the website. So we have to use that file in the template file, and then we have to run the main file. When we run the application file, it will pick whatever we have in static as a static file, or whatever we have the template as a our HTML file. If you put anything like outside of that folder, that Flask application is not recognize that things. Okay, so now fast APIs. The fast API is basically popular because of it's similar, it's simple and it's very fast. You can see the name. So now basically that fast API is mostly used for our model part. For example, we have to create a model. Now we want to deploy only model. If you just deploy only model, you can go for fast API. It's not too much hard to understand or too much things that you have to done with that. The fast API is basically similar to the Flask application, but it's like 3 or 4x faster than the Flask applications. So the key features are, it's high, like the performance is very good, the design is easy, and it supports synchronous function. In website, I think like maybe you have idea about asynchronous and synchronous thing. The synchronous is like it's not going parallel. For example, you have only one line, so whatever you pass, you have to pass from that one line. This is the synchronous. But in asynchronous, you have to parallel things. Like for example, if you have 10 users and the 10 users hit your website at the same time, the synchronous function is managing the 10 requests at the same time. It will not hold your request for preceding the one request. So this part is not like available in Flask. So setting up the Fast API is very simple. You just need two libraries. First one is Fast, another one is Ubicon. So you have to install that, and this is the structure. This is the basic structure. If you have that basic structure, and then you will use that command, your application is live. Your Fast API is live. The Fast API, like for example, in the Fast API doesn't provide us to connect the template file for, like, if you are working on the Fast API, you can't work in the HTML files. Like if you want to create the website, the Fast API is not recommendable. If you want to create the website, you have to go for Django or Flask. But if you just need an API, the API that is you just want to connect your model to your application, to your already built-in website, so you can use the Fast API. The best part is Fast API. You don't need to worry about the Postman or any other software that is available for checking the request. So you can use the Fast API. The Fast API is giving you the inbuilt like the postman, so you don't have to worry about the external software which you want to test your APIs. Okay, so this is the difference between the Fast, Django, and the Flask. So why and when you want to use the Flask, why you want to use the API, and when you want to use the Fast API. So if you see that three things, the Flask, Django, and Fast API. So the Flask is basically used for a micro framework. Django is the full-fledged websites, and Fast is for just API. For example, if you have the big website, like for example the website like the website how can e-commerce website or the management system, then you can go for the Django. But if you just have only one single page, or you just want to have the 2 or 3 pages, like a home page, about page, it's not, the workload is not too much, so you can go for Flask, the Flask. But if you just need an API, actually the APIs and these things are simple. In APIs we don't have the something to show on the website as a user, like we don't have the HTML files. But in Flask and Django we have the HTML file. So for example, if you don't worried about how you show, how your data is shown to the user, you can go for Fast API. The architecture is like the Django, the Flask is very lightweight. The Django has the very big, like for example in the Django, it's like it's not like the plug and play. It's like everything you, for example, you want to buy something, it's already built in. So if you are working on that part, the Django, like you have the database, you have the model structure, everything is in the Django built in. In Flask, it's like the plug and play. So if you want to add the database in your application, you just install the database. If you want the authentication, you just need to install the authentication in Flask. And the development side, as I told you, the Flask is used for very small applications. The Django is used for complex applications, and the Fast API is used for the APIs only. Yeah, I think. Okay, so this is the suitability chart, like when you want to use the application. For example, you are creating just simple website, as I told you, so you don't need to worry about to go for Django, because the Django itself has a large, like for example, your application has only one route. You just need to create the calculator that just 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. So you don't go for Django. Why you want to build a database structure for that? You don't need the database. Okay. So for example, the RESTful APIs. If you just want to create the API, for example, you just hit the request and it will give you the answer in JSON format. You don't need the pages for the HTML pages. So you don't need to go for Django. You go for Fast API, you go for Flask or Fast API. If you want to go for the full stack application, as I told you, for e-commerce website or the management system, like you have the multiple user, you have the multiple panels, like you have the different panel for user, you have the different panel for admin, you have the different panel for student, teachers, then you can go for Django. Microservices, like the microservice is like quite similar to the APIs, but it's not like the APIs. The API is different thing, the microservice is different thing. So if you want to create the microservice, you also like go for Fast API or Flask. The microservice is like you create, like for example, I will give you the example. Your website has the different routes. For example, your website has the login route, your website has the sign up route, your website has the categories, the different categories. So instead of creating everything in a same project, you can divide things to different projects and it will run by its own self. So why we need that? It is necessary for first of all the load balancing. For example, you have the 100 users, so your server is too much slow. So you can use the microservice or API, so it will divide your load. It will not put your every load in the one port. You have the different port for the API or the microservice, so you can your load is balanced. And then if for example your login part is not working, Okay, so it will not affect your other things if you are using the APIs or the microservice. But if you are using the website, if your login system is not working, it will disturb your other things. The real-time application. The real-time application, if you are want to real-time application like the real-time, like you just if you know about the chat GPT, you can see the chat GPT is written everything the line by line with some passage of the time. For example, it's just take too much little bit pause and then it will write. So if you want to that kind of thing, you can go for FastAPi and LangChain. I think you know about the LangChain. Here and the administration, if you want to go for the interface, you can go for Flask, and if you are the Django, and if you know for the built-in application, like the built-in authentication, like in Flask, if you want to authenticate something, you have to write the authentication code by it yourself. But in Django, we have the built-in authentication part. So if you want to authenticate your website or whatever, you can go for Django. So I think now you know about when you want to use the Django or when you want to use the Flask API or the Fast. Okay, so now the important part, I think that's why we are all here. It's about the deployment. Like you know how to create your model, you know how to you are creating the Fast API or Django or Flask, but now the main thing is how you deploy your model, how the other user will see your thing in the live sites. Okay, so the deployment is just to putting your website on the the local environment to the production environment. Like you don't have to change about your code or something. You just need to put your website on the live server, so everyone is accessing your website. Okay, so the staging of development. The staging is like, first of all you have to write the code, and after the code you have to create the build. The build is just you have to run the code. Build configuration, like every server has its own configuration. For example, you want to go for Ubuntu has its different configuration. If you want to go for AWS, they have the different one. If you are to go for Azure, you have to different one. So you have to know about, for example, if you are creating the model or you want to deploy the model, you are a requirement. You have to require the GPU. So if you want to go for GPU, the Azure and AWS is best. You can't do for Linux or Ubuntu. Okay. So if you want to just deploy the simple website, you can go for Linux or simple. And then the monitoring, testing, and the monitoring and support. This is the main important thing. If your website is running, and like for example you are earning something from that website, the user is coming and checking your website, so the monitoring and support is most important thing. So for example, you know about how to monitor your code. For example, someone is accessing your website, is authenticate or not. For example, if someone is scrap you or someone want to hack you, so everything is done by monitoring. Okay, so type of deployment. We have two types of deployment. One is manual deployment, where you have to write everything by your own, and other one is automatic deployment. But actually the automatic deployment is like you have to first you have to create the pipeline for the automatic deployment, but after that, whenever you put some change or whatever you want to change something, it will deploy automatically. Sometimes it prefer to go for that, and other time it not prefer to go for that. Like it's the different scenario you have to think about. For example, your website doesn't have your secret data or something that you don't want to retrieve, like for the other user will see. So you can go for manual deployment. Like for example, you have the organization, you have the 100 of the people team. So then you can go for the automatic deployment, like the one developer is pushing, the one developer is pulling the code, so you can go for automatic. But if you have the little organization, like you are the only one who is putting the code and who is making the code and want to run the code, I think you can go for the manual deployment. Okay, so in manual deployment we have the techniques, like we will use the PM2 we will use the system CDL, we will use the local. This is the manual in manual production. So like you have to set up the PM2 or whatever. And in automatic deployment, we have Jenkins, we have GitLab, or we have the AWS coding. Actually, these three are different. For example, the AWS is just working on the AWS server. The Jenkins you can work on the different server, but for the AWS and GitLab you have to create the server for that companies. Okay, so any question? So we will go for the practical part. If you have any question, you can ask.
Till now, if you have any question.
Yeah.
In manual deployment, what kind of servers do you use?
Huh?
In manual deployment, you showed some techniques, and what kind of servers do you use?
In manual deployment, you can use anything because you have to write the manual code. You have to configure your code by yourself. So it doesn't matter you are using the Azure, you are using the Linux Ubuntu, you are using the AWS, because you have to write it manually. So you can use any server. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
For if we will use for the deployment part Django, and for the user part and the backend part, if we will use Django, and for the model part, if we will use FastAPi, is it possible to integrate?
Yeah.
How the integration works?
Yes, actually, this is how we supposed to work. Like, for example, if we have the website and we have the model, I don't think we will connect. We will put everything in the ones, because the model is also very heavy. And if you are working on the Django is also very heavy project. So for example, if you deploy, it will consume many memory. Okay, so I think the best approach is you will deploy your model in the other. I'm not talking about you are like purchasing two server. You can use one server, but you deploy on different ports. Like the model is on somewhere else and the application is somewhere else. So what will happen? You will use the API to integrate that thing. So in API you can use JavaScript, or you can use the Python also. Like you just click the route, and that route is interacted with the FastAPI, and then whatever the data is, we will encrypt, or we will use the JSON format for that data. So whatever we will come, the data coming from the model part, we will use that data to show our in our website. So yeah, it's possible.
Just click here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So just give me a moment. Haribhai, we. No. Okay. So for practical part, we need some softwares, which is first of all, which is Postman. That software you have to need for if you are testing your APIs for locally or the server side. So, but if you are working on the server side, you have to need some softwares like the PuTTY. Okay, so actually this is this connect you as a terminal. You can use the CMD for that, but I think the PuTTY file is necessary because it will, like as the beginner, it will help you to interact your server more easily. And of course the FileZilla. The FileZilla is also necessary for viewing your data. Like for example, you don't want to change something from the terminal side. So you can download and upload the files on your server by using the FileZilla. Okay, so let's go to the. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the Django first. So as you see, if you create the Django, as I told you, in Django we have the main structure, which is this one. So let me show you. Okay, so this is our Django structure. This is our main folder structure. You can see the init file, it's empty. That file, it's already written, so we don't need to change anything. In URLs, we have to change something in URLs, and in setting file. So the setting file is necessary file. So you, like for example here, the installed app. So in that, whenever the Django is starting first time, it will need that authentication. For example, now I want the admin panel. In that, I want the authentication in there. I want the sessions, I have content type, static files, and then the cal. The cal is nothing. It's just my application, my application. So if you know about my PPT, okay, in PPT, this one. So this is your project name. This is my project name, which is calculator, and in my app name, where is my app? My app name is cal. So you can see there, I put my app in there. So now I have to put the cal is there. Okay, so if I don't put that thing here, it will not, my application is not running. So I don't know if they have Python installed. Yeah, okay. So okay, just copy this and okay, so now this one. So this is my application running, and if I change that file, now you can see I'm removing some things. So this application is not available for us. So we have to put that things again in that file. And also in setting. Yeah, so it's live. So okay, now I'm explaining you how we change the setting file on how we have to put the routing and connecting that things together. So in setting file, first of all you have to write your application name, which is in your app name, this one there, and it is the same name for the folder. Okay, so and if you go down, so your main route is calculator. You have to change your name. I think like when you create your application, you don't need to worry about this, but it is necessary to know you that this is our main application route, the routing, this one, this is calculator, that file, because that file is necessary to interact with the front end. Okay, so now here if you see the template directory, the template directory is this one. So I'm creating the template folder. You can write anything there. If you write my name or your name, it will working. Okay, so in Flask we don't have that feature. We don't have to change the name of our static folder or the template folder, but in Django we will change the things. Okay, so you can write also there the name. You don't worried about these things. If you just write that thing in there, it will also work. Okay, this is the database file. The database is the built-in database that Django uses is SQLite 3. It is actually the tabular form database, the SQL database. Okay, so you have to write the name. You can change the name and run the project, and it will change the name. It will create a new file there. Okay, so this is the authentication part. You don't worry about this because as a beginner you don't need that thing. Okay, so this is the static folder. In static folder, how we manage the static things is /static/ and then the directory which is already written in there. So if you go there, if we close this, so you can see the static file. As I told you, in static file we have the CSS file and we have the JavaScript file, and in template file we have the HTML. So this is our HTML structure. Okay, copy path. So this is how actual our website is working. So you can see now, because I'm using the thing called Jinja templates. So I'm creating, I'm loading my static files from my Django. So because from there I'm just like clicking the HTML file. So that's why the CSS is not working. So this is how, like for example, this is just the HTML part. The CSS file is not connected. So like the HTML is like for us, like it's our skeleton, our bones. Our bones is just the HTML part, but our color, the skin and everything, it's just created by CSS. Like you want to create the beautiful website or you want to create the pretty website, you have to use the CSS. So this is how, if you are using the CSS, you can see the alignment is center, or yeah, I think, yeah. And here you can see this one, because I'm not using the Django, that's why this thing is written here, because it's not loading a file, because this code is not related to the HTML, that is related to the Django. Okay, so when you run your Django project, that will be usable, and that the load static is loading everything, all the static files that we are needed for that purpose, for that folder of the project. Okay, so and the same happened with JS file. In JS we have the JavaScript, so in JavaScript we have to create like the JavaScript. Why we need the JavaScript? The JavaScript is basically the authentication or the validation we are needed on the user end. For example, you can't like many websites you see, if you can't submit the empty folder or the empty the form. For example, you have to write something. That part is done by JavaScript. Okay, so like for okay, in JavaScript, why we need the JavaScript? JavaScript is basically used for authentication, and for example, you put the empty form. What will your server will be disturbed? So if something happen with the server, it will not like for only one user. It will like, and whenever someone use, if there is an error, everyone getting the error. So for prevention for that error, we are using the authentication on the JavaScript part. For example, we will make our website like if you want to submit the empty form, it will not happen. This is done by JavaScript. And many things, like for example, your password, you can check the password length. Like if the password length is 9 digit or 8 digit, you can show the strong password. If your password contains the alphabet characters, everything is done by JavaScript. Okay. And this is the HTML structure. We have the different parts in there. You don't need to worry about this. You can just ask the ChatGPT. Now you can ask the ChatGPT to write the tabular form or whatever. So it will done by ChatGPT. So here you can see I'm loading the JS file here, and I'm loading the static file there. This one. This is the structure of the HTML file. Okay. So in manage file, as I told you, you don't need to change anything in the manage file also. Okay. So this is our Django folder structure. Now we are covering the Flask. Okay, in Flask, as I told you, the Flask is basically used for both of parts, the website or the APIs. Okay, so first I'm going for website, and other we will go for APIs and then FastAPi. So this is the website, the application structure. So you can see the static file here. So now I have the different things in there because I have many things. For example, I want to display some images there. So all the images are there. Okay, so you can see every images are there. The blog images, you can put many things as you want there. This is my page. The blog pages, the assets, in front end we have the JavaScript, we have the HTML, we have the fonts, the CSS. So okay. Okay, so this is the structure of my application, the Flask website. So as I told you, in the Django, you have to require to use the different files, like the model file for the database, and the route, the URL file for URL, the view part for HTML part. But in Flask, you can use everything in the one file. So here you can see I'm declaring the database, which is db.user, and then this is my database. like if I'm using the Django, I have to create that kind of thing in the separate file. But now, because if it's Flask, it's the small framework, the micro framework, you can do anything. Okay, so now you can see I'm here, I'm integrated, or I'm importing the library which is called SQL Alchemy. It is the ORM for database. So for this is, if I'm not my folder, my application is not needed that thing, we can just remove that. Okay, so this is why we are using the Flask. If we need something, we can use that thing. If we don't need something, we will not use that thing. For example, here I'm using the Flask login because I'm working on the login part. But if my application doesn't require the login part, I just remove that thing. So the folder structure and the load that it creates when it's running, it will be reduced. So this is how the route is working. Okay, so in that route, basically we have the 4 different kind of the functions, which is get, put, delete, or post. But normally all of the websites are just using 2 methods, get method and post method. So I'm telling you that like the little difference why and when we are using the post method, and why and when we are using the get method. Okay, so when you are working on the credential, like you are using the login system where you have to put your email address or your password. So that now you have to use the post method. The main difference in the post and the get method is you can see whatever you are giving to your application on the URL. If you are using the post method, you can't see anything in the URL. It's just the URL. It's just the route name. But if you are using the get method, you can see everything in that URL. Okay, so this is the structure. As I told you, the render template. Now in the render template, I write the login.html file. So what happened? That because here I'm using the template file. When that code is running, and that part will look for the template folder, and if there is it's like the login file is there, it will redirect you in the login file, and if it is not there, it will show you the error, the login file is not there. Okay, so okay, I will okay, so you can see now I got the error because in that system we don't have Flask, so we have to install the Flask and many things. But I think I will show you the API part too, because here I have to create many things like the SQL Alchemy or the Flask login and many software. But I don't think so this system will have too much support, so it will like maintain the load of all the libraries. Okay, so this is our API structure. Okay, so APIs, we don't need anything like static file, we don't need the template folder, we just need the application file which are required to interact us to the backend. So you can see the hello Flask is running. So So this is for like now you can see the clearly difference in how the API work and how the the website work. In website, in return we use render template and the HTML file to show the user like to show the user the page. But in APIs we don't need to show the user as a page. We just need the JSON file or just a simple string, so it will connect it to other things. So for example, you are creating another route, you just need to okay, here I'm writing like what A, okay, and this is A. So what you want to change if you are creating the multiple route? First of all, you have to change the name of the route, this thing, and then the function name, because like you know that in the Python or any other language we can't use the same function for 2 times. So let's say A. Okay, and now for example I'm just hitting the slash and I'm redirecting to the hello Flask. But if I use the A, I will go to the A. This is how routing work. You can use different route. For example, now you can have the idea about how the login, how the sign up work. So this is your endpoint. This is your target. You can say that your target variable or your target point. Whatever you are putting there, it will redirect to your code, whatever you are writing there. Okay, so this is how. But now let's say like we want to input anything, like we have to put something, and then it will our application will proceed something, and then it will show us the result. Okay, so okay, just use this code. Okay, so we have to include the request. The request, the parameter, the library module is important to interact to take the input from the user. Okay, so now you can see like I'm clicking the add, but it will not take anything because we have to select, we have to give the input. For that we have to use the postman. So how we use the postman is just paste that thing here. Okay, now go to the body and form data, and there we have to use, this is our target variable. Like that variable, is the bridge for connecting the front end and back end. If I'm using the A, it will save that request parameter will save the whatever I'm writing in the A, and in B whatever I'm writing in the B. Okay, so just change that thing to int. because whatever you are putting there, it will give you as a string. It will not, like for example, you are putting the 1 2, you will get the integer. No, it will convert your data type into the string, and then you have to change the explicitly data type to run your code. Okay, so okay, so okay, so what is happening now? I'm putting the data there, I'm putting the route there, but I'm not getting the answer, but I have to supposed to get the answer. Like, anyone have idea about what happened there? Yeah, because it's a get method. We are like, we put the condition like, if our method is post, then that code is working, otherwise it will return that part. Okay, so now I have to change my method to post. Oh, that method. Okay, so here we also have to use the method keyword, and then don't worry about it, you will use to it when you like create the application. Okay, so now we have another error which indicate that it like the data type change, because in Flask we can't put the integer on the front end. We have to convert that, because the Flask is taking as a string, so you have to like send that something as a string or the JSON, like, so you have to change this to str. Yeah, so you see, I'm getting the answer. Whatever I'm putting here, it will get the answer, and if I change my method, you will not get anything. So this is how the method is working. So you can put your data, like if I'm not using that thing here, so you can use any method to get your result. You can see, so it doesn't matter that the get method is only used for like to retrieve something, or post method is only used for getting something, like giving something to the your Flask or your Django. You can use anything. It's up to you how you manage your things. So this is how the API is normally working. Okay, so the last one is the FastAPi. So as I told you, the FastAPi has a similar structure like the Flask. You just have to like install the requirement and the route, and that's it. But if you see there, the different thing is that the Flask API, you can give anything to Flask API. You don't worried about to convert something in the string, and then you have to just put like the name. I'm getting the name as a string or the age as an int. So you can put like you are giving the value as a char or something else. You just put that thing there, and it will work. Okay, so what is that? This is the required library for running the FastAPI. This is the instance of the FastAPI. Okay, and that, you know, this is the routes. Okay, so in there we have different routes, like the FastAPI is like like little bit different. On the Flask, we are using the parameter, like the the method to tell us which like how our application is working, like it is the post method or it is the get method. But in FastAPI, we have to use the method name as a get or post to know your FastAPI what method it is going to use. Okay. And this is also the necessary thing in Flask or APIs. So this is your host. You can put your host here, or you can put your port here. For example, you are working on the different APIs. Yeah, like you are working on 2 or 3 APIs at the same time. So you can't run on the same port. So you have to change your port. You can choose 4-digit number, any number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you are choosing. It will redirect to your API to that port. Okay. Okay. Now I have to install this. Then other thing is UVCon. Okay, so you can use the Postman if you want, but as I told you before, the FastAPI is provided, it's predefined or built-in Postman. You just need to write /docs here, so you can redirect there. So for example, here I just hit that, and you see hello FastAPI. Or if I want to use another, so just cancel it and go there. Okay. So now try out. So here you have to put your name or your age, like so this is how you are getting. So if you see there, I don't change anything, like I don't change the date to string, the age to string. It will automatically, like because of that thing, this one, we are telling that the age we have to take the integer. So that's why if we put the float here, so it must take the float. It will, like if you are putting the like string or integer, it will not accept. So this is how the FastAPI works. Okay. So any question about these things, then we will go for the deployment. Okay. Okay, so deployment, like I'm not take too much time for deployment. Okay, so this is how our server is look like. So this is our university server. So this is how our server is look like. So you can use some commands. I will tell you to know about your servers, like htop. Htop is used for to check like how much our server is using and how much core or RAM we have in our server. Okay, so here we have the 48 cores and 250 GB RAM. So it is quite good server. and now I think someone is running like someone is putting something in training part. Okay, so you can use also the n top. NV top is if you have the GPU in your server, so you can know about the GPU and the performance of the GPU. For example, now that server has 1, 2, 3 and 4 GPUs, and the one GPU is like 24 GB GPU. So in total we have 94 GB GPU in there, and you can see that graph. It will tell us how much our GPU is using. So right now that GPU is consuming almost like the 100%. This is also the 100%. Yeah, I think all of the GPUs are using at their 100%. And this is how you know about the different user and the request. So you can see the Python skin cancer classification is running on the Ali user, and it will take the GPU 91 the 81%. Okay, so we have the different user, the Ubuntu, the Ali. Okay, so for example, if there is any other user, the user is not related to you and you are not creating that user, so it's like someone hacked you. So you just need the PID. This is the process ID. Okay, so you just need that ID and use command kill -i and that ID, so it will kill that user command. So that user will like disconnected from your server. So this is like the DevOps techniques. So you can use that technique to manage your server. And for HTOP, you can know about how from like this it like 235 hours that file is running almost like it's almost like 233 hours. So it's training on that. So you can know that this like for example this is Ali Ubuntu. If there is any other user, you can use that, and now you can know about how many RAM, how many CPU is consuming, how many memory is consuming for that the single application. I think you understand that. Okay, and there is one more command I will show you, df -h. So for that command you can know about how much hard drive is installed in your system. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 storage devices in our server, and this is all like almost full 96 GB, 96% is used. This is 100% used. This is 96%. This is 94%. No, like I think, yeah, this is 73%. I think we should, Alibhai, we'll need some other space there. Huh? No, I think we have everything in that. It's only that server we have. We don't have any other server. Okay, so okay, let's go to the part. Okay, so here you can see, yeah, this is our storage devices 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So whatever you have access, you can go there. This like I just okay, sorry. Okay. Oh wow, I have to use translator. Okay, so like I will show you the files there because I don't understand what is written there. Yeah, you have to, okay, because there I don't know what is written here. No, I think it's fine. Like I just want to show them in that file only. So no, it's fine. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is how you deploy your model. Okay, this is how. So first of all, you have to download the parameter or weight of your model. Okay, and then you have to write whatever your model is at the top. You don't put that part in your route because it will take the memory. This how it works is like if whatever you write there, it will take only one. It will just read or it will just execute only one. But whatever you write in your route, every time when you hit the route, every time when you hit the route, everything is it running from the start. So it is the best thing. So you have to put your model at the top, not in the route. Okay, you have to put the model in the top, not in the route, and then you have to create the route. So here, as I see, I'm using the FastAPi because I don't need any. Anything like the front end or nothing. I just need my my result that I have to show someone. So this is how to install the model, and then you have to write everything that you want to predict in the in your route. Okay. Any confusion about it? Okay.
Where we are calling the model and
yeah, so this is as you see, we use the model like the model variable to load the model. Okay, then first the model will load, and then whenever we want to use, we just call the predict route, and then that model will execute it. Like every time we click, it will go there. Every time we click, it will go there. Okay, but it is automatic already loaded in our memory, in our system memory. But if we just take that two lines and put there, so every time it will load again. So what will happen? It will like you will lose your memory every time, and it will make you slower. Like for example, you have to wait for the to when your model is load and when your model is predicted. Now it's just like the Jupyter notebook. So in one cell your model is loading, and the other cell you just click and you will get the prediction. Okay. So so this is our the file that we have to need to run our model on the server. Okay, we don't use the Python and app.py because we have to something we have something which is automatically run our system. For example, we just shut down our the putty or whatever, we will use that thing. So I will just tell you the brief information about this. What is this? So the name is our application name. That for example we have the multiple files, so we will use that application name to know that which is our application and where like how many it's consumed. CWD is the directory name where we have put our app.py file. I'm not talking about the model thing, I'm talking about the app.py file or whatever you are running. Okay, this is the interpreter. So like in the server, the most important thing is you are using the environment, the virtual environment. So it will not take you will not disturb the any other work. For example, you are working on the different libraries like the NumPy or different libraries, but your other friend is working on the different version of that thing. So you have to create your virtual environment and then you will install everything in that. So this interpreter tell you which Python you are using, okay? And then script is which server you are using. Like in Python we are used two servers, as I told you, the XVGI or AXGI, the GUnicorn or the UVicorn. The GUnicorn is basically used for Flask or Django, but the UVicorn is useful for FastAPi. The FastAPi use UVicorn. So we have to use the UVicorn, and this is actually, that line is the most important line that will allow us to run our system. So the app is the name of my my application, which is app.py, and that app is the instant of my API, my fast API. You can see this is you can see the name of the application, which is app, okay, and the instant of the fast API is also app. You can change it. For example, you can write anything what you have, but don't forget the sequence. First is the name of the file, and the second one is the name of your instant, okay? So now the host we are using 000. So if the 000 host will bind your application to your server IP, okay? If you are not using that thing, it will run on localhost, which is 127.0.1, okay? So you have to use the 40 with dot to bind your your API to your server IP, okay? And port, as I told you, the port is used to run the different APIs or the different things on the same server. So you can use any 48 APIs on that, okay? Worker is tell the number of worker that API use. It's like how many requests is handled. Like for example, they have how many load it will take, okay? That worker. The worker formula is whatever your core multiply by 2 plus 1. Like for example, now we have 248 cores. So 48 multiplied 2 is 96 plus 197. So we can use 97 worker. But I'm using 10 worker because that application I'm just using for my testing purpose. It will not take any load. So I just take 10 workers. So if for example, if I'm using, if I make that website live in production, so I can increase my worker. Okay. So this is the watch time. It will like the watch time is, for example, whenever you change something, like it's like the debug true. If you know about that, whenever you put something in debug true, whenever you put some change, it will automatically restart. But in production, you have to put it in false, because you don't need to change. Like for example, you are changing something, or someone changed, like some hacker want to change something, so it will not change until you restart your application by your own self. Okay. But this is how the manual things are working. The memory, maximum memory. So I'm giving the maximum memory is 512. So for example, whenever my memory is increased, my RAM is increasing for 512 MB, my application will restart. It means that my application is stuck, so I have to restart. So it will restart my application whenever it's reached to 512. Okay, so this is how my logs are saved. So I can know about, for example, I can know about the things like my errors. For example, if my application has error, so I just go that file and I will see what kind of error I have. For example, I just have any library missing or any my logical error. I can go there. Output is that whatever you print, it will go for the output. And the logs. The log is everything, like the request, like which IP is is accessing you, and which IP you are allowed. So you can use the DevOps are using that info log. So it will tell you from where your request is coming. For example, your website has IP 192.0.1, but you have some requesting from 192.0.2. So it means that your API is breached. Someone has your API and someone is requesting, someone getting the result from your API. So you have to block it. So you can use the IP authentication or like the firewall from your server to block your IPs. Okay. So this is the how can I say, the configuration file. And if you know, here it's PM2 ls. Okay. Okay, so here you can see the name of the application that I use in there, the process ID, the status, the maximum MB, and the user. Everything is here. The watch I'm disabled because I don't want to restart whenever I'm changing something. So I have to use the manual restarting to change something there. Okay, so you want to see the logs, you just write PM2 log. Okay, and you can use the name of your application or the ID of your application. The both are acceptable. Okay, so you can see here the 10 workers are like in the stack. So whenever the request is coming, the worker proceed my request. Whenever the request coming, the worker proceed my request. Okay, so for example, if you want to restart your application, you just need PM2 restart 0. So it will restart your application. Now if you see here, the memory that application is taking is 20 MB because it's running. Okay, the model is loading there, but now nothing is loaded there, so it will take the 7 MB. So when I use the predict thing, the memory will increase. Okay, and if the memory goes to the 512 MB, it will automatically restart my application. Okay, you can use anything, like you have to know about your server limitation and how much users you have. So you can use up to 1 GB, 2 GB, whatever you want. Okay, so now let's PM2 delete 0. Okay, so now my application is deleted. Now I want to show you how you start your application. Okay, so yeah, here you have the configuration file. Okay, this one. So what you want to do is you go PM2 start and then configuration file. Okay, wait. For starting the project, you have to go to the directory. To go to the directory, what you want to do is just take that URL. Okay, use CD, enter. Now you are entered there. ls, in ls you can see we have our config.json file. So you have to use PM2 start config.json file. So you can see your application is now in working. So you can check the log, PM2 log 0. This is your application, and if you want to know about the running application, it's like want to check the IP. Okay, so this is our IP, and then we have to write the port that we are using. So the port is this one. So you have to use the colon to separate your IP and your port. Okay. So you can see that my FastAPi is running because my first route because we don't have any route for the home page, so that's why they said not found. Okay, but if I use the predict route, it will show you the result. So go to the docs because it's predefined for the FastAPi. So this is your API, then you have to write try, and here you have to just write any string. Okay. Okay, execute. So this is I'm still working on that, so don't worry about the result. I'm just want to show you how the work. Okay, so whatever you this is your your parameter. Okay, the text is your parameter, and whatever you write here, I will show you how it work in Postman. So in Postman you have to go there. This is your Postman route. Okay, and if you see there, they have the content type JSON. Okay, so you have to go to the raw, select the JSON, and then put that there. So you can okay, sorry. So now the method is not allowed because in my API I'm getting the post route, so I have to change that route to post. So you can see my result is there. So this is how you can do with the PM2. Okay, so if you want to do with the different things like system CLD or somewhere else, they have the different things. So I think for now the PM2 is okay, but if anyone want to learn about or want to know about the other things, you can contact me. I will send you the code, or I will tell you how that thing is work. Okay, so if you also want to know about the Django, here is the complete detail about Django with the links. So you can use everything in there. Like for example, you want to set up the Django, you can just click, and that page will is coming. So you can use that PPT, or sorry, that PDF as an example. So how you can start learning Django. Like I want to cover like as many things I think it is necessary for learning the Django. So like I'm not telling you that this is like if you know anything, everything, so you can be the master in Django. You have to explore many things by yourself. So this is all from my side. Thank you. Any question if you still have about the deployment side?
No.
Yeah.
For deployment, we have to just put that config file, or we have to.
Yeah, in deployment, you can use the config file like in the PM2, like PM2, and then you can use everything on that in the CMD. But in CMD, some like you don't have the structure, so that's why you will put everything in the structure format, which is JSON format, like this. Okay, and then you can just start your PM2 for that configuration file. So that will work. Okay. All right. Anyone else? I know, like the main topic, the main part is to know about, because now everyone is want to learn about Django, but the Django is not necessary for you. You should learn the FastAPi or the Flask, because you guys, you just want to deploy your model. So why you want to like learn the Django? If you want to learn the Django like as a web development, you can go. But if you want to just learn Django for deployment your model, I don't think so. You have to take too much burden on you. Just use the FastAPi or Flask and deploy your model.
Okay, thank you everyone.